warm welcome to all of you on the discussion today on the Biomedical Waste Management Rules 2016. Today we have with us two very eminent people, and I would like to introduce you to these two people. On my right is Dr. K.T. Bhomik. He is the Additional Medical Superintendent of Safdarjung Hospital, and he is also in charge of the biomedical waste management in the hospital. He is one of the key persons who has been involved in drafting and framing of the Biomedical Waste Management Rules 2016. He is also actively involved in the disaster management through NDMA. He is one of the program in charges of our Certificate in Healthcare Waste Management program, which is there in the Safdarjung Hospital as the program study center, and it is one of the important and model study centers of this program. Then we have Dr. Malini Kapoor, who is MD in microbiology and is working as an associate professor and senior specialist in microbiology in Safdarjung Hospital and VMMC College. She is the nodal officer for the biomedical waste management, and she was in the drafting committee of the BMW rules of 2016. I welcome you, Dr. Malini and Dr. Bhomik, today for the lecture that we are going to have on biomedical waste management rules. We have already learned from you about the basic concepts of the biomedical waste management rules in 2016. I would request you now to elaborate on the schedules, the standards, and the duties and responsibilities of authorities that have been outlined in the biomedical waste management rules of 2016.
Thank you, Dr. Ruchika. Now I just take on straight away to the schedule 1, that is the heart of the rules. How you segregate waste, in what all color codes are there, what are the technologies, what are the pre-treatment technologies, and what are the final disposal technologies to be used for the various categories, various color categories of biomedical waste. So first we take on the yellow color category, which is human anatomical waste, human tissues, organs, body parts, and fetus is also included as per the age of viability. If it is less than 24 weeks, then you take the yellow category, and if it is more than 24 weeks, then the body is handed over to the relatives, parents. Then yellow colored non-chlorinated plastic bags needs to be used, and the final disposal technology is incineration, means you are burning it out, or plasma pyrolysis, that is a waste to energy. It is eco-friendly technology, green technology, where the dioxins and furans level, they are less than 0.001 nanogram as compared to the incinerator. And they have given an option of deep burial, that is usually for remote, rural or the defense areas. Then the second, you have the animal anatomical waste, that is experimental animal carcasses, body parts, organs, tissues, and the animal waste which is generated during the research activities of the veterinary hospitals or the medical schools, and they also need to be put up in yellow bag. The soiled waste, that is items which are contaminated with blood, body fluids like dressing, plaster cards, cotton swabs, they need also to be put up in the yellow colored non-chlorinated plastic bags, which the common biomedical waste treatment and disposal facility operator, it ensures to be that these kind of bags need to be given to the occupier of the healthcare facility. And next you have the expired or discarded medicines, pharmaceutical products like antibiotics, including all the items which get contaminated with cytotoxic drugs, like the disposable use during the dispensing of the cytotoxic drugs, be it glass or plastic ampoules, vials, needles, syringes, etc. So we all know that these expired or even the leftover cytotoxic drugs or their aerosols or their whatever leftover is there, they can cause secondary neoplasias, and they can also cause skin irritation, skin cancer also, and they have been proven by various studies. So they need to be disposed of under stringent practices like incineration at high degree temperature, that is 1200 degrees centigrade, or plasma pyrolysis, or encapsulation in cementing, or it could be returned back to the manufacturer. If you have in your rate tendered contract, so you can return back it to the manufacturer, especially the expired medicines. And so all the leftover cytotoxic medicine, whatever the residual are there, along with the syringes, glass, plastic, they need to be put up in yellow colored plastic bags or containers, and they need to be given for high degree incineration. We need to look at the cytotoxic waste now differently. Previously, in the previous rules, they were there in the black, but due to the high degree of hazard associated with it, we need to put up for high degree incineration. Then chemical waste, which is listed in Schedule 4, the chemicals used in the production of biologicals and the used discarded disinfectants, they need to be put up in yellow colored containers or non-chlorinated plastic bags, and they are again disposed of by incineration, encapsulation, or as plasma pyrolysis, or as in secured landfills for hazardous waste. Like we have one outside Delhi also, and very few TSDFs are there in India, but the best option would be by high degree by incineration or plasma pyrolysis. And then you have chemical liquid waste, which is listed in Schedule 4. The liquid waste which is generated due to use of chemicals in production of biologicals, used or discarded disinfectants, silver, or the X-ray film developing solution, or the fixer also comes in this category. Nowadays we have a lot of people are using the digital radiography, so I mean a lot of things like developer and fixer are not used, but if they are being used in the conventional X-rays, so you need to then, especially the developer needs to be disinfected, and then that is after treatment, then they can be discharged as per the normal sewer, and the discharge should comply with the norms. If you don't have ETP, ideally these all should be given in the ETP, that is the effluent treatment plant. But if your healthcare facility does not have the effluent treatment plant, then you can give to the authorized, government authorized lab, like we have Shriram lab in Delhi, so that the effluent which is tested has the norms and standards as they are mentioned in the Schedule 2 of these rules. And because it is the State Pollution Control Board which will collect the sample. Earlier it was sample could be sent, but now the sample needs to be sent to the State Pollution Control Board, and they will hand over the samples to these labs. Then after resource recovery means like the developing solution of X-rays, they have a lot of silver in them, and 1 liter of such fluid can give 6 grams of silver. That's quite high. So after resource recovery, it can be recovered by electrophoresis or by chemical methods. The chemical waste will be pre-treated. Then discarded linen, mattresses, beddings contaminated with blood or body fluids, again they go in non-chlorinated yellow plastics after chemical disinfection, after using non-chlorinated chemical disinfection, like you can use alcohol in that, and followed by incineration, or they can also be given for plasma pyrolysis. And then microbiology and biotechnology and other lab waste, especially blood bags, they all need to be first disinfected or sterilized, that is pre-treatment to sterilize as per the latest NACO guidelines or the WHO guidelines, and then given for incineration. Certain PHCs don't have autoclave, so they can just be simply disinfected also. And so these, under the ambit of these new rules, we have they have taken care of the PHCs also and the tertiary care hospitals also, and you have to use the autoclave safe plastic bags or containers. Now for the red category, all the infected plastics which were earlier going into blue, they need to be given in the red category, that is the waste generated from disposable items like the tubings, bottles, intravenous tubes, sets, catheters, urine bags, syringes. Now syringes without needles, they will go in red bag, and with fixed needles, they also need to be sent to the red bag, that is after their autoclaving or pre-treatment. And even the gloves, after their mutilation, they need to be pre-treated, that is by chemical, and they can go in red bag. What is the whole idea behind separating this? Because plastics, they can be recycled or they can be given for waste to energy option. So why to waste a thing? They can give it to the registered authorized recyclers which are certified by the State Pollution Control Board, and they can give for energy generation or plastics to diesel or the plastics to road making, which we have seen in Bhutan, and there is an institute in South India which gives training to engineers and for utilization of plastics for making roads, etc. And plastics should never be incinerated or should never be sent to the landfill sites, because we can recycle them. Then for the white or the translucent category, we have waste sharps including the metals, needles, syringes, scalpels, blades, or any other contaminated sharp object they need to be put up in puncture proof, leak proof, tamper proof container, and then autoclaving followed by shredding, mutilation, and if you don't have such facilities, you can disinfect them also, especially in PHCs. So again, we need to recover them, they need to be reused. You can encapsulate them in cement concrete so that you can make bricks out of them, you can make benches out of them. The needles, they need to be destroyed. So to prevent their reuse, like we had a lot of hepatitis B and C outbreaks in Punjab last year, that was all due to reuse of needles, and to prevent that we need to mutilate them. So all the plastics or the needles, they need to mutilate to prevent its reuse, and then the final disposal is through authorized recyclers. And then you have the blue category, that is for glassware, that is broken or discarded or contaminated glass in all medicine vials and ampules except those with cytotoxic waste. Cytotoxic waste, they go in yellow for high degree incineration in a separate bag or container with a cytotoxic hazard label. That you must remember, that I will be covering during the labeling also. And again, I shall focus on cytotoxic waste because this is very relevant. We can prevent a lot of secondary carcinomas if we follow the guidelines. Then cardboard boxes with blue colored marking, that is for glassware, and again disinfection up to log 4, that is reduction of microorganism, and that is we can use the sodium hypochlorite solution, or that is for PHC, or sterilization through autoclaving, microwaving or hydroclaving, and then to the authorized glass recyclers, and who are authorized by the State Pollution Control Board. And for metallic body implants also, cardboard boxes after proper disinfection or sterilization, and they can be given for authorized recycling. We have these 4+1 color codes, like we have blue, we have red, we have yellow, and we have translucent also, and then we have green, that is for the general waste. So if you look at the waste disposal, green color we are using because we want to be eco-friendly, we have to show that we are going green. Not with envy, of course. We have paper, food, wrappers, cups, cans, carry bags and thermocol, and then we have the yellow one where the swab sticks or the soiled swabs, dressing, soil linen, contaminated gowns, drapes, human and the animal waste can go in that, the soiled bandages. Then I re-emphasize for the cytotoxic waste, this is the cytotoxic hazard symbol, again high degree incineration, plasma pyrolysis or return back to the company or encapsulation. For radioactive waste, you need to wait till the 10 times the half-life is over and or return back to the supplier, and long term storage is only at authorized radioactive waste or disposal site. Container has to be labeled with the radioactive waste, there is a label for it. In the schedule 3, we have the label for transporting the biomedical waste bags or containers wherein day, month, year, date of generation, waste color code, quantity, sender's name. So you can trace your, who is not segregating the waste properly, and in case of emergency the name and contact address is also given. And the new rules have in their schedule 2 the standards for treatment and disposal. They were not there earlier, and they have laid down the standards for incinerators, and they have also laid down the standards for waste autoclave is separate, the standard of normal autoclave is separate, and they have given the norms and the effluent standards for before discharging into drains for liquid waste, and they have given the standards for microwaving. The spore test is there, but like Bacillus atrophius spore test is there, and they have also mentioned the standards for deep burial. Like for standards for incinerator, they have given time for maintenance of the standard 2 years, that is the stack height of 30 meters, the primary chamber temperature, secondary chamber temperature, and the residual gas time of 2 seconds, and the dioxins and the furans level should be less than particular limit they have given. Then there are 7 forms, they are related to all A's, that is application for authorization for the occupier or the common biomedical waste treatment facility. Form 2 is the annual report from the occupier or the common biomedical waste treatment facility, that is form 3, 2 and 3. Then form 4 is the accident reporting. So just remember the A's, and then you have form 6 for filing appeal, again an A. Then form 7, that is report of common biomedical waste treatment and disposal facility on the HCF. So if you look at the biomedical waste management rules 2016, They are unique in itself. They have lots of standards in them. They have covered the hazardous waste like the microorganism waste, the radioactive waste, or the lead acid waste, or the e-waste under different acts and rules. They are, but they need to be segregated under their respective acts and rules, and the duties are very well delineated, like whether be it be of occupier or the common biomedical waste treatment and disposal facility, or even the authorities who needs to do what, who needs to compile the report and who needs to hand over the report, and when the report is to be submitted, that is at least the financial year is covered, that is highlighted in these new rules. There is no categorization, there is color coding is given, and there is a lot of emphasis on the recycling of waste. They have given like deep burial as option only for remote, rural or certain defense areas, and for non-chlorinated bags, standards for articles and bags have been laid down, and they have given it to till the time the BIS standards are published, approved and published. Till that time, these standards need to be taken care of as per the plastic waste rules, and standards of equipments, effluents, pits and parameters are very well given in the schedule 2 of these rules, and the government authorized recyclers, the list are there on the State Pollution Control Board. So, and lot of focus is on sustainable, eco-friendly, green technologies and neotechnology, and lot of emphasis on waste to energy options are also given. If you look at these biomedical waste management rules are very, very comprehensive, and they ease our problems, whether it is healthcare workers or it is the occupier or common biomedical waste treatment and disposal facility or the authorities. What is the required attitude? You have to be working there as team. Like it has been suggested in the 2016 rules that there should be a hospital waste management committee. The head is usually an administrator or the additional MS like we have in Safdarjung, so that we can work as a team. There is a in charge we have in Safdarjung, then we have nodal officers, the area is allocated, and so teamwork is the key to biomedical waste.
Thank you, thank you. I think that's a very important message that you've sent. It's very important, to follow the rules and to, take care of the prevention, and everybody responsibility. If they are taking care of their own responsibilities, then I don't think there should be any problem anywhere. So, before we take any questions, I would request Dr. Bhaumik to say a few words in connection with what has been explained.
I think we take one or two very important take-home messages. One, anything which you put into that yellow bag, which basically is going to be incinerated, that bag must be chlorine free. Simple. Everything else you can have, if you put it into the red bag, that is going to be recycled. It doesn't matter whether that is chlorinated or not chlorinated. That is one take-home message, that whatever you put into that yellow bag must be non-chlorinated. The other very important issue that comes in to these rules is deep burial. I mean, it has been mentioned 2-3 times. Let's be very clear, nothing goes for deep burial in the normal course of action. Deep burial is allowed basically only in 2 occasions. One, for the armed forces. Siachen, he cannot have a common biomedical waste facility there. So they will have to do deep burial for whatever, they have medical rooms there. Whatever is generated will have to be disposed of by deep burial. The other one would be in some of the difficult terrain in the country, which is basically in the hilly areas. Some amount in northeast and probably some amount in, say, Uttarakhand. Himachal, the Uttarakhand and Himachal, those areas. There only deep burial would be allowed, but before you think of deep burial, you require to get permission from the State Pollution Control Board that I am going to be using deep burial, because one, I don't have any facility 75 kilometers range which will come and take my issues, and then standards for making those pits and how to do the deep burial have been laid down. So these are two very important issues that require to be flagged, and all of us require to understand the procedures and some of these schedules and the forms that are there. Very important issues was taken up was labeling, because labeling pinpoints responsibility. Which bag was not properly segregated at source, you can identify right to the last man in the chain who did not do his duty. And that is something which makes the biomedical waste rules not only something which requires to be stringently followed, but also makes you liable for punishment if you don't follow. And punishment
fixing
is
accountability.
severe. It's fine as well as maybe imprisonment or both. So everybody should probably follow the rules and not get into the situation where fines and imprisonment, things like that can come in.
Thank you, Dr. Bhaumik. I think we'll take a few questions. Yes, please.
I'm interested to know the notified standard for microwave in the new rules.
In the new rules, the notified standard is Bacillus atrophius. Like for autoclave, we have Bacillus stereothermophilicus, that's a spore test. इसका भी spore test होता है, and इसको भी हम जैसे करते हैं वीकली करते हैं, उसमें जो ऑटोक्लेव का है उसको भी वीकली करते हैं, बट जो ऑटोक्लेव की मेंटेनेंस के लिए होता है वो 3 मंथ्स में एक बार करते हैं, जिसका हम रिकॉर्ड रखते हैं. इसका भी जो माइक्रोवेव का है Bacillus atrophius है, एंड माइक्रोवेव इज रिलेटिवली अ बेटर टेक्नोलॉजी. आई मीन जिसमें हम उसको हम रख भी सकते हैं जैसे अगर ओटी के बाहर या वैसे करके, बट उसका स्टैंडर्ड इज Bacillus atrophius का स्पोर टेस्ट.
You mentioned plasma pyrolysis as a new technology. What exactly is that, and how is it better than incinerator, which is predominantly used now?
Actually plasma pyrolysis is a eco-friendly green technology, जिसमें जो इसमें भी फ्लूइल यूज होता है, उसमें भी फ्लूइल यूज होता है, बट जो इसमें वेस्ट टू एनर्जी इज अ मेन एडवांटेज ऑफ प्लाज्मा पायरोलिसिस, जबकि आप इंसिनरेटर में एनर्जी कंज्यूम कर रहे हो. एंड इसका जो डायोक्सिन्स एंड फ्यूरान्स का लेवल है प्लाज्मा पायरोलिसिस का, दैट इज नेग्लिजिबल. देयर इज अ प्लाज्मा टॉर्च विच बर्न्स इन द सेकेंडरी साइकिल एट 1200 to 2000 तक इसका जाता है. So that's why it is very good for even hazardous chemicals also, for even cytotoxic this thing also. It is usually given for, I mean it is used for human anatomical waste, cytotoxic waste, even the infected plastics. जो इसका मेन फायदा है, आप उसको प्लास्टिक्स भी उसमें डाल सकते हो. And it has been used extensively in municipal solid waste in Maharashtra, in Gujarat, where it originated in Gandhinagar, and इसका it is more environmental friendly. So इसलिए इसको ज़्यादा इसमें रूल्स में मेंशन भी किया है, इंसिनरेटर और प्लाज्मा पायरोलिसिस. अच्छा, इसका एक और एडवांटेज होता है, इसमें जो स्लज निकलता है, स्लज से आप इसका ब्रिक्स भी बना सकते हैं. यू कैन हैव द मेटल रिकवरी ऑल्सो. ओनली डिसएडवांटेज जो मुझे लगा, इट इज कॉस्टली. The equipment is around 1 to 2 crore depending upon the capacity of load it is taking. It is costly, and because it has that plasma torch, तो इसका अंदर से वो burnout और maintenance इसकी बार बार होती है. बट अगर इसको हम एक कॉमन बायोमेडिकल वेस्ट ट्रीटमेंट एंड डिस्पोजल फैसिलिटी में लगा दें, जैसे जो दिल्ली में है जहाँ पे 50 to 100 हॉस्पिटल्स उसके अंडर आते हैं, तो क्वांटम ऑफ वेस्ट जनरेटेड इज ह्यूज. सो इट कैन नॉट बी सेट अप इन अ हॉस्पिटल, बट डेफिनेटली इन अ कॉमन बायोमेडिकल वेस्ट ट्रीटमेंट एंड डिस्पोजल फैसिलिटी विच हैज मल्टीपल हॉस्पिटल, द क्वांटम ऑफ वेस्ट इज मोर.
Yes, please.
Would just like to know exactly because regarding disposal of cytotoxic waste, because it includes medicines and there are items which are contaminated with cytotoxic waste. So how are they going to be disposed of?
जो लेफ्ट ओवर साइटोटॉक्सिक मेडिसिन्स हैं, जो अगर तो ज़्यादा हैं, they are returned back to the company, expired हैं, again returned back to the company. But the residual medicine, cytotoxic medicine which is remaining in the, I mean बिल्कुल जो थोड़ा सा जो syringes and needles में जो बच जाता है, तो उसका सारा का सारा needle, syringe, cotton जो उसमें आपने उसको वो किया, वो सारा का सारा आपने एक पंचर प्रूफ, लीक प्रूफ येलो कार्डबोर्ड बॉक्स में उसको येलो बैग में डालना है विद साइटोटॉक्सिक हजार्ड सिंपल, सो दैट इट गोज फॉर हाई डिग्री इंसिनरेशन. और रिटर्न बैक टू द कंपनी, इसमें ऑप्शन हम एक्सपायर्ड को हम बोलेंगे कि रिटर्न बैक टू द कंपनी, जो लेफ्ट ओवर या एक्सपायर्ड मेडिसिन है. बट अगर हम ये सब दे रहे हैं तो हाई डिग्री इंसिनरेशन, or it can go for alkalinization also or encapsulation also. But the best option would be high degree incineration, that is at 1200 degrees centigrade.
Unfortunately, there is a problem. Most of the common biomedical waste treatment facilities
They
have incinerators which work at 1050. So for them to go up to 1200 degrees is a major quantum leap in costs. So for expired drugs, it's okay. We can tell the companies to take back. But what's left in a vial, what's there in the tubing, all that, there's no other option but to put it in a cytotoxic bag and then look at the other methods of disposal as has been mentioned.
But are these pharmaceutical companies also covered under the ambit of the biomedical waste management rules?
Yeah, they come in.
They will come in. So they will also
in
have
the,
rules.
in the new rules.
In the new rules. In the new rules.
Earlier we did not have, but now we have them, and they have to also dispose of their medicines.
I can also inform that a task force has been constituted in the ICMR, which is looking at the usage guidelines for cytotoxic drugs in this country.
So thank you very much. I think we had very interesting interactive session with the audience, and I think they are very happy and satisfied with all the answers, and I am sure that they will carry the message home and to their institutions where they are all working, how the rules, what are the emphasis of these biomedical waste management rules 2016, how they need to be implemented, and how important it is to implement them to avoid the penalty, which is, as Dr. Bhaumik has also informed, very heavy. And not only that, there is accountability fixing in these rules, so there is no escaping. If as an individual, as a healthcare personnel working in a healthcare establishment, you are not following the rules or you are slipping, then you will have to be accounted for, and you cannot shoulder your responsibility to somebody else. So it's better that we all become aware about the rules, the various schedules, the responsibilities and duties of each and every category of worker, so that we follow them diligently and help in management of the waste. So with these words, I think I would like to thank Dr. Bhaumik and Dr. Malini very much for their time and for their good suggestions and advice, and a very comprehensive account of the biomedical waste management rules, and we hope that they will be diligently followed, and we will make the waste managed properly. Thank you very much.